Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we are live in UFRL Tier 2 action tonight at the Chinese Grand Prix for Round 4 in Season 7. And as we can see on the track map there, we do have a couple of lovely DRS zones. The best one in particular for the overtaking opportunities will be down into turn 14, which is effectively the hairpin, which leads you into 15 and 16, which is where the pit lane entry is as well. Of course, you've got the very tricky sections between turns 1, 2, 3 and through into turn 4 as well, the left-hander, which will lead you all the way into turns 5 and 6. Again, turn 6 could be a potential overtaking opportunity, particularly for those on either lap 1 or with better tyres potentially later in the race. But the best chance for overtake, no doubt, will be into turn 14. Right, we are live across Twitch and TikTok as well this evening, so it's my first time actually streaming through TikTok, so hopefully it will all be smooth, but I have got a multi-stream comments going through. So good evening to Sniper, McCatty, and Benny as well. Hope you're all doing well. Let's go towards the standings then as we head into tonight's event. King Kong leading the way by 5 points in the Red Bull ahead of the McLaren of Kingy OG. So Kingy OG is certainly right in the frame as well. Yet to pick up a win, however, Kingy OG. King Kong has managed to get a win on the board. George Hutch occupying third place for the Alpine. He is 1 point ahead of Steelane in the Ferrari Steelane Tier 1 last season. He's dropped to Tier 2 for this game, but he's looking competitive and strong in Tier 2, no doubt about it. Sainsy, of course, he got a podium in round 1. He is 5th. Driver of the day as well for that Austrian Grand Prix. Speedy Bullet in 6th place in the Kick Sauber. He was also Tier 3 last season. Sainsy is the reigning Tier 3 champion. Gandalf in 7th in the Mercedes, 50 points on the board for him. So he's reached half a century. He'll be looking to reach a century a point within the next 2 or 3 races. DJ Dallas, quite new to the league. He is in the Haas. He's already got 45 points, so he'll be looking to pick it up again this week. He does race sometimes in Tier 1 as well. So let's see what he can do this evening. You've also got Late Bloomer and Kingy the King, who is back racing tonight. So let's see what Kingy the King can do. He's got plenty of pace. We know all about that. So the lobby is just beginning to start up as well. But let's go through on the Constructors' Championship as well. Alpine have taken a stride, and with Destroyer Drac at the helm, they are leading by 36 points. But that was heading into last night's race. I can now confirm, excluding penalties, Red Bull would have overtaken Alpine in that Constructors. But excluding, well, penalties can happen, and also factor in that it's without the Tier 1 standings from last night's. Alpine going into this week's races would be leading the championship. Red Bull second, Mercedes level on points with Red Bull. They are behind by virtue of the countback. Kick Sauber in 4th. They had a strong start to the season. They've just dropped off a little bit over the past couple of races. McLaren 5th. Visa RB into 6th. Haas 7th, they had a very strong round last week, but they were quite poor in round 2, where they only received 5 points in total across 3 tiers. Yeah, you're averaging just under 2 points per race. That's not ideal, but last week was a lot stronger for Haas, and that's why they've made it up to 7th. Aston Martin in 8th, Williams in 9th, and Ferrari 10th. I think Williams certainly seem to be struggling. I think Pesci is holding them together at the moment. We'll see if Williams can pick it up alongside Ferrari over the next few weeks. But we are live into qualifying. As we do that, we will just go and pop on the sponsorship as well. So we have got the sponsors of Thrustmaster and Track Racer as we head into tonight's Tier 2 race. But now, let's get down to the bitty end. Here we are in Tier 2. Just get it right on the stream for you. There you go. Let's see how things go then. I'm pretty sure we'll get the sound on for you guys as well. Nobody's out on track just yet, but let's get everything, all of the key informations up for you, including the telemetry, which we will turn off during the race as we do typically do. just so it hides away what people are doing in terms of their battery in the race. I don't think it's particularly fair to leave that on, but you could do it in qualifying just because then you know who is on a hot lap. Links Peace giving his support to McLaren. Good evening, Links. Hope you're doing well. I think in terms of your race last night, I know you were up there. You must have probably got around the podium, I'm presuming. Maybe P3, I want to say. I can't quite. I don't think you finished ahead of Young Lights. Young Lights, I know, got a penalty, so I'm gonna guess you got P3, but I'm not certain. I am Batman, King EOG, Angry Badger, Gandalf, King of the King. All of those in the bottom 5, ironically enough, in this current qualifying list are out, and also Mr. Potwash and DD Friend. DD Friend reserving for Mercedes tonight from Tier 3. But I Am Batman is not the lead driver, so we will go towards Mr. Potwash because he is the lead runner at the moment. Pace was a bit off. P4, okay, decent result, could be worse. Yeah, P4 is still strong. He's still up there in the championship with Hazer, and Putch will now be closing it. Pesci will try and push on as well. So yeah, only one Sauber racing. Yeah, only one Kick Sauber. Speedy Bullet is in that Kick Sauber car at the moment. So we've got 17 runners. But Mr. Potwash then is just about to kick-start his lap here at the Chinese Grand Prix, the first runner tonight. That means the pressure is all on the Haas of Mr. Potwash. Don't know if it's the best idea to be the first one going for a lap. Not too sure. Anyways, through the snail section we go here at China. Turns 1, 2, and just entering into turn 3 now, the left-hander. Before you reach turn 4 on the exit now. There you go. Quite nice there from Potwash as he makes his way through to turns 5 and 6. As Sector 1 split 24.375 for Potwash. And exiting out of turn 6. Quite a wide line, I have to say. But he will make his way through at turn 7. Right into Sector 2 now. So Potwash will be the one to get the first lap underway, providing it does not invalidate, of course. In terms of invalidating here at China, I wouldn't say it's particularly easy. There's not many corners where you can naturally go wide to cause an invalidation. The best chance of going wide, as we'll probably all know, is the final corner. So I don't really think he'll invalidate. Can see exit onto the big straight being a struggle, yes. But by the... Yeah, well, yeah, to be fair. Heading into Sector 3 will be the most difficult one. I think the final corner as well. I think it's turn 16. It won't be easy as our Potwash heading down into the hairpin now. And this will be into 15 and now heading into turn 16. This is where it matters most. Does he stay on the track? Yes, he does. It's pretty neat. Doesn't get all onto the curb, but it's still a neat lap. 1:32.8 for Mr. Potwash. I don't think it'll be the quickest that we'll see, but it will be a decent one, I'm sure. Gandalf flow. Might be able to go quicker. 32.5. There you go. 3/10 up is Gandalf. And I Am Batman, reserving from Tier 3, goes in with a 32.9. P3 for I Am Batman. Further down, you've got King EOG about to go through as well. Doug starting on an outlap. You've got a Ferrari of Angry Badger. Just a bit squirmy on the exit of 16, however. But Angry Badger goes P4 and King EOG is on pole at the moment. But it's not by a long margin. King of the King goes 3rd place. So we're waiting and seeing some improvements to fly in. DD Friend on a lap as well. It's going to be a 33.7 P6 ahead of Angry Badger. Further down, you've got Piggy on a lap as Doug serving his engine penalty this evening. Not sure who else is serving engine penalties. A Steel Lane goes quickest. 32.1. He's up by over 0.3 of a second on King EOG. And Sainsy, 32.2. He's not known as a qualifying specialist, but that is his best qualifying effort to date. It's P2. I know it's only the first runs, but that's an exceptional job from him. And you've also got the quickest time from Filthy Ghost. Filthy time. It's a 31.9. And the McLaren, but he is lagging. He is lagging, and that could be a bit of an issue. He's not lagging right now. He was lagging temporarily. Hopefully his connection is not too bad tonight. It was quite poor on round 1, I remember. And we've not really seen him since. So hopefully... It's not bad now, though. Since actually he went into turn 1. It was bad then, but it's been fine since. So Maybe just keep watch of that. Hybrid is also on a lap. There was a time by Piggy, P4 for him in the Visa RB 32.2. But here comes Hybrid. It's not going to be a competitive time, 38.0. King Kong is the second of those with an engine penalty. And King Kong is the championship leader. So this is a brilliant chance for Kingy OG to take the championship lead tonight. If he can put in a good performance, get onto the podium, it might be tricky for King Kong to get himself through the field here at China. So we've got a few more drivers to set a time. George Hutch is just starting his lap. You've got Shazam, but he's not using his battery. I'm waiting on Hybrid to improve, but he is gaining by 9/10 of a second through the Sector 1 split. Let's keep on then with the Williams. I don't imagine too many more will be improving on this run, as our Steelane, Signsy, Gandalf, Batman and Badger all into the pit. Speedy Bullet yet to come out onto the track as well. The Kick Sauber is the final car in that pit lane, so he'll get a good run if he does opt to head out. But Hybrid then round that tricky corner and lead him onto the back straight effectively. Here comes Hybrid then. See what he can do, as he is well into Sector 3 now. And again, this will be your best chance of overtakes into the main event. But in the qualifying session, we'll see what the top speeds can be. And that is going to be crucial as well. Out of the hairpin he goes. And it is a decent exit. Again, a little bit squirmy, not too much. And now to turn 16. He has used all of his deploy a little bit too early. So it's not going to be the best effort. 33.6. He just used his deploy way too soon there, Hybrid. He needs to wait a little bit longer. Must have used it all down that back straight. But it's still a time to put him into the top 10. But for how much longer? Shazam, P13 and George Hutch, I'm sure will go quicker than Hybrid. Hutch to the line. No, it's not. It's only P13 for George Hutch here. A bit of an issue for the Alpine. Of course, constructors leaders heading into round 4. And George Hutch struggling in the Alpine. So Batman P9, Hutch P13. The Alpine's not looking particularly strong at this moment in time. So we've still got Shazam out on track, but he's not running quickly. And Hybrid as well, not on a lap. So nobody else is on a lap. We're going to have to wait on one of those on an out lap. Batman, Speedy Bullet is now out. So let's go towards Speedy Bullet then. See what the Kick Sauber will do once he gets through on his flying lap. But it is looking good for Filthy Ghost. If he wants to take pole, he is up by 0.2 of a second on Steelane. Let's get the gap to the leader there. So there you go, Ghost up by 0.2 from Steelane. Signsy and Piggy both within 0.3 as well onto the second row. Then you've got a bit of a gap towards Kingy OG and Gandalf. Kingy the King is in P7 as well. Mr. Potwash, Batman and Hybrid completing the top 10. But for how long? Speedy Bullet then will start his lap into turn 1. And we'll see how quick the Kick Sauber can go on this run here. Just going to change something. I don't know why it's done it on the stream. I know what I'm going to quickly amend whilst I've got time to do it. That should be like that. And now... So I don't know how much it changed it if I do this. I need to fit to the screen correctly. That's not really done it. But what I can do is just move it across. Yeah, it's not done it enough. Interesting. I'll put it to the middle. And then... Alt. See a bit more than that. Let's put it wide again. For some reason, I actually edited it out going into the stream tonight. I don't know why. There you go. Pretty much, not all of it's on there, but it's mostly on. But Speedy Bullet then. He is on a lap, so we don't necessarily need to focus on what everybody else is doing right now. A couple of other drivers are on laps now, including Steelane and Signsy, Batman as well. But Speedy Bullet will be the first driver to complete another lap. That will be his first run in qualifying, and it will be a 33.0. He is now into the top 10. Obviously, it's not about getting it into the top 10 because you're fighting for pole effectively. Let's go down towards Stee Lane, but he's not gaining any time. And when he gained time through Sector 3, the hairpin could be the chance for him to improve. He was losing a tenth as he approached into Sector 3. So he could have gained a lot of time in Sector 3. Let's find out though. Stee Lane, here we go, out turn 16. Pushing it the boundaries all the way. 32-0, he does improve, but it's not enough to overshadow Filthy Ghost. So Stee Lane slots into P2, or well, hold on to it really, with Signsy and also Mr. Piggy on a lap. Signsy is improving. King of the King on an outlap. Let's just stick with Signsy. Ghost still lagging. I will check in with that. I've not seen him outlet. How was that not an invalidation there? Signsy does improve. Stays P3. I could have sworn he did go wide. But either way, the game does not believe he did. So he does actually remain in P3 with an improved time as well. We'll have to wait on when Ghost goes out onto the track next before we can see if he is still lagging. Gandalf, though, heading into turn 16 again. He's used all of his battery, so he's not going to have enough left. Not used all of his deploy, interestingly, but he does improve 32-2 and goes up to P4. So Gandalf is within 2.5 tenths of Filthy Ghost now. Starting to get quicker on this grid. Mr. Piggy is on a lap. Is he improving as well? Can he get himself a sub 132.0? Wouldn't call provisional P5 lagging. Provisional P5? Mr. Piggy, I was talking about Filthy Ghost, but Mr. Piggy does not improve and remains in 5th. You've got Batman, the 2 Ferraris. Kingy OG does improve, but it's only P6 for Kingy OG, but he drops further back due to the improvement from Angry Badger, the 2 Ferraris, onto the front 2 rows. So they've done brilliantly there. You've got Kingy the King on a lap as well. Let's see what the Red Bull can do. Is he going particularly fast as he's entering into turn 16? Again, doesn't use too much of a curb. And to the line, King the King goes up onto the podium. It's P3 for the Red Bull. It's McLaren Ferrari Red Bull. It's a bit like real life almost. But there you go. Ghost, Stee Lane, Kingy the King are the ones to beat at the moment. There was a time being set. I believe Hybrid just actually started a lap. And let's see what he can do into turn 1. But 4.5 minutes of qualifying remaining. It is Ghost, Stee Lane, King of the King, Signsy, Badger, Gandalf, Piggy, and Kingy OG are all within just over 0.3 of a second from the pole sitter, Filthy Ghost. Still the quickest driver yet to go out for a second run. And again, he's the only driver to set a sub 132.0. But we'll have to find out if he is still lagging. And the best way to do that is basically going on board with them on their lap, which we will probably do a little bit. But we try and get drivers at the end of their flying laps if we can. So it looks like the majority will be heading into the pits. Just double check the McLaren King OG is actually not. He's going to go again. An interesting strategy this from King OG because he's got, well, he's not got enough time to go in again. I thought he was going to box, get a new set of tyres and go for one final run, but he's decided to stay out and using his hot lap now. Interesting strategy. Hybrid improving through the sector 2 split and now through the hairpin at 14. And now he would enter into 15 and 16 for the final corner here, Hybrid. Down to P12, he's typically known to have good qualifying pace, but again he's used to all of his deploy. It's a 32.8 P11, so Hybrid has still not made it into the top 10 here in qualifying. That's a problem, given that qualifying is his best use at the moment. Well, it certainly was last year, and he hasn't quite picked it up on this year's game either. So a bit of an issue there for Hybrid and the team of Williams. As King OG is on a lap, but he's now decided to turn off his battery. The problem is, if he boxes now, I do not believe he'll have enough time to start another lap. So he has to use these tyres. The fuel light is not on, so he can actually go for one final run. He is slowing down his car a little bit. Again, remaining in no ERS mode. So King EOG will be starting a lap. You've still got King of the King out there as well. But again, he's on none, so he's not on a lap. And Hybrid obviously just set his time to go P11, but he's going to have one final attempt as well. So nobody's on a lap, even though 3 drivers are showing on a lap. King EOG does now start what will be his final run. He does have enough time, in case he makes a mistake, to go again. Just under 2 minutes to go, so everybody has plenty of time to get round. Lowe's in the pit lane. Angry Badger will be included in that. So obviously 2 drivers serving an engine penalty, but Angry Badger cannot improve on P5. He does not have enough time to go out. King EOG though, well, he is pushing at the boundaries at the moment, trying to go quicker than what is provisional P8. As again, King of the King now is into the pit, so it's P3 for the Red Bull. But he cannot improve on it. Other cars can beat him. Other cars can beat Angry Badger as well. So those 2 are not safe to start in the top 5. King EOG, Sector 2 split, not improving. So he will go back into no battery. He has, fortunately for himself, he's got enough time to go for one final run. But can he improve on P8? It's quite a low starting position here for King EOG at the moment. Good evening, King Kong. Hope you're doing well. Best of luck for the race. Down to P17 behind Doug as well. So Doug has effectively got that free position, even though they're both serving engine penalties. But King EOG, he's going to have to go for one final attempt here. Unless he goes into the pits. Does he have enough fuel? He does not have enough fuel. King EOG into the pits. So that's game over for the McLaren. Batman set a 1:32.4, but remains P9. This is not good news for Lowe's at the McLaren garage. Even though Ghost is on pole, their championship contender is down in P8. Steel Lane, however, and that's also factoring in King EOG has been strong in qualifying this season. So the fact that he's down in P8 and may still drop more places, wow, that's big news. So King of the King, Badger and King EOG cannot improve on their current provisional time. Steel Lane is improving through Sector 1. It's not purple, it's green, but it's still a strong sector. What about Filthy Ghost? He's up by a 10th. This is going to be a flyer from Ghost here. So he's going to improve, but by how much? Filthy goes to the line in the McLaren. Is he improving? Yes, he does. It's a 31.7. It's a superb lap from the McLaren. Will it be pole for Filthy Ghost? The Tier 2 runner-up last season. Steel Lane, though, is up by 3/10. This could be close. Piggy goes second fastest. So Piggy has split the top 2. But this is going to be significant because Steel Lane is on a flyer here. And he's going quicker, as things stand, than Filthy Ghost. It will be close. You've got the Alpine just ahead as well, George Hutch, who is down in P14 at the moment. But we will just stick with Steel Lane at the back end of this lap. Thank you for the follow to Rocket Van Persie. Appreciate on that one. But here comes Steel Lane to the line. It's the Ferrari. He's not done it. It's only P3. He lost time through Sector 3. And that has cost Steel Lane pole. So Steel Lane is only third fastest. George Hutch took home P11. But it is not enough for Steel Lane. I thought he was going to get it. But he's made a mistake in Sector 3. And therefore, due to the error, Filthy Ghost is on pole. Again, in Tier 2. I say again. He's on pole. Is this his first pole? No. Did he get pole in round 1? Potentially. But either way, Filthy Ghost, we knew how quick he was last season in Tier 2. But he's back there again on the new game. And he's pushing for wins. And he's back on pole. What will he be able to deliver in the race? That's significant. But Filthy Ghost may just be the man to beat tonight. And is this the start of a potential championship charge for the McLaren? Not King EOG, but Filthy Ghost. Good to see Ghost not lagging. Has been struggling with internet for a while. Yeah, he has been struggling. It was him or Steel Lane who got pole. Yep, it was Filthy Ghost. Steel Lane only P3 because Piggy beat off Steel Lane at the end. Steel Lane lost time in Sector 3 If he didn't lose that time, Steel Lane would have got pole because he was up by 3/10 heading into Sector 3. But anyways, the grid for the race then. Filthy Ghost and Mr. Piggy, 1 and 2. Steel Lane is joined by Kingy the King on the second row. The third row will be signed in Angry Badger, and we'll go all the way down if we can. Hopefully people got that. I didn't. But all I know is you've got real contenders at the front. King OG not in the best starting place. King Kong further at the back as well. Obviously serving his engine penalty, but this is a big chance. Now, you'd argue actually it's a big chance for King Kong. With King OG down the order, it's a massive opportunity for King Kong to push his way up the field in this race. Right, so let's see. Signsy has got great pace round here. Would have taken P2, but one mistake cost him. Yeah, I did see earlier on as well. He was up there in quali, so he does seem to have strong pace, which is good to see because he hasn't necessarily had strong pace so far this season. But what he has had is good consistency in the races, and that's absolutely what he needs to do. Right, just a reminder then, for those on TikTok, feel free to be clicking on that like. I believe, as far as I'm aware, you have to click the middle of the screen or something, just tap the screen. That's what you need to do apparently. I'm not all into the TikTok stuff, so just so you know, it's something that I'm learning as well, and I'll learn it along the way. A bit more proficient in the Twitch area. But yeah, let's see. I'm going to see if I can get the Twitch stream up quickly on my phone, just so I know it's up. I know we're live on it, so it doesn't need to be an issue there. Where is it? Just bear with me a second. But yeah, it's looking good though for Ghost in terms of if his connection is strong, he will be looking good in this race for sure. There's no doubt about that. And he will be tough to beat. Really tough. Oh, I see. So the TikTok comments do not go through the multi-stream. Okay, understood. That's a shame. So Judson saying, "Here we go." Did someone just send a universe? Wait, what? um, told you you need an engineer. Okay, but now I am seeing comments going through. Right. Interesting though. Interesting that they don't go up on the multi-stream. But there you go. So we are now getting comments from both Twitch and from TikTok as well. So obviously if you're on either one, you'll be seeing it. But yeah, feel free to give some likes through. It will just help the stream get through to others as well on TikTok. So yeah. But obviously, and with Twitch, obviously feel free to give a follow to the channel so you can watch more events. Tier 3 coming up tomorrow night, 8 o'clock as well. We had Tier 1 last night at Portugal. That's my best. That was actually my best race of the season as well. Got P6 in the end. So yeah, I was happy with my race overall. I'm not pushing for wins in Tier 1, so obviously it's totally different. And for other drivers, I think some of those who are typically up there in Tier 1 did struggle a little bit, to be fair. But there were some good contenders. Good evening, Sniper, on the TikTok as well. Hope you're doing good. I did, I think it was you earlier in the Twitch, I did respond to as well. This is going to be weird, though, getting used to all the TikTok stuff. Yeah, all we're doing at the moment, guys, is having a 5-minute break. The race will be starting pretty soon. I will just double check what time we are due to start. Knowing me now, checking, it'll probably be in like a second's time. Okay, 20:33. So we've got a couple of minutes before the race will begin. But yeah, Filthy Ghost, the one to beat on pole position at the moment. So let's see. I'm not going to get the grid order up just for the fact if I did that, then well, if I got the grid order up, then you'll be able to see their tyres, and I don't really want to do that. I don't think everybody on the stream should be like, oh, I know what tyre they're starting on. I know people could change it. I would. If I do the stream at the tyres up, I'm definitely changing it. But yeah, I'm not going to do that. People in the lobby can check their tyres, of course they can, because that's something you can do in the game. But yeah, you can change the tyres right at the end anyway, so it doesn't really make a big difference. Thank you for the like, Daniel King. And yes, hopefully it all goes through. All the likes, all the comments. I am seeing them on both the TikTok and the Twitch. So yes, give us follows, give us likes, whatever you need to. Obviously, if you enjoy the stream, feel free to pay more attention. We got Tier 3 tomorrow at 8 o'clock as well, so that'll be a significant race over there. The Alpine of I Am Batman, who is racing tonight as well, is leading the way in Tier 3. And of course, you can rewatch the Tier 1 race from last night as well. Monday, 8 o'clock, that one was, and that was at Portugal. Quite an entertaining race. I won't get too much into it, but there was a late safety car as well, so that would be quite significant for anybody who is interested in rewatching the Tier 1 race. That will be live, and that was live, but also it should be shown across our Twitch channel, which should be named UFRL Formula 1, so feel free to have a watch on that, if you are on the TikTok, of course. Then you can go onto Twitch and have a watch on that if you wish to. If not, don't worry. We've got tonight's Tier 2 action here, and it will be at a Chinese Grand Prix. So we will be moments away, as it is now 20:33, so drivers should be beginning to ready up. We're just going to wait on the sounds as well. In terms of who I think can win, well, I think Ghost will be up there. He typically is whenever he's in Tier 2. He can make mistakes, however. You put him under pressure, he can make an error. He was a bit unfortunate last season with a few of his DNFs. 2 of them were not really his fault. Something with Widget at Japan, I remember, and also under a safety car at Abu Dhabi. Neither of them were his fault, so it was quite unfortunate the way he DNF'd in those 2 races. In a Twitch, go on. Batman says warm for the rest, which is Jar Jar Bing. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights. And here we go in Tier 2 UFRL. The engines are roaring. It's go, go, go. Shazam with a drive-through penalty. It's a good start of the line from the McLaren of Ghost. But Peggy draws alongside it to turn 1. And Filthy Ghost under attack, under pressure. Here comes Peggy. And Peggy takes the lead on lap 1. It's a superb start on the medium compound tyre from the Visa RB. Off goes the Ferrari in the background. Potentially Angry Badger, but Peggy leads the way in Sector 1, and down the inside goes the Red Bull. It's a massive send from Kingy the King on Filthy Ghost. Has he made it? Has he completed it? Yes, he has, but Ghost is still there alongside it. Ghost gets back at him. Ghost is up into P2. Sidey is up into P4 as well on Steel Lane. The 2 Ferraris level it out in P5 and 6. You got Batman, Kingy OG, Gandalf and DD Friend completing the top 10. Hybrid down the order in P17, but Piggy has made a strong start. The kick Sauber in the background of Speedy Bullet goes off track as well, but it's Piggy from Ghost. Yellow flags for, I'm not too sure actually, who is it? It might be the Ferrari that's really slow. Big gaps forming down the field, because look, you've only got the top 4. Steel Lane's in trouble. So the top 4 have run away. It's a fantastic start for Piggy, Ghost, King of the King, and Signsy as well. And here again goes King of the King, looking at a move on Ghost, not quite making it stick. Filthy Ghost holding on to P2. Let's get the tyre situation on for you. More yellow flags down the back of the grid. There is a DRS battle, a slipstream effect down the back, but they're miles off now from the top 4. It's a big issue because Piggy, Ghost, Kingy and Signsy are streaking away. King Kong has only made up 1 place up to P16, Kingy OG in P10. So neither title contenders are having a strong race, which again could be why any one of these in that top 4 in particular, if they can have a great event here, then they will be marching forward in the championship. As off goes Signsy. Is he going to lose DRS? Is he outside of 1 second? He's just staying in at the moment. He may just need to use the battery to get himself in. Let's get the lap data on as well, shall we? But yeah, Kingy the King is still in there with Ghost and Piggy, who may just be a surprise leader in this event. Looking at the Twitch channels, go on. Well, Hybrid is getting support. He's down at P14. Need to work together and put away. Says links on these top 4. Absolutely. Absolutely, they do need to. More yellow flags. It's for Hybrid. Sadly, for the comment from Murphyo, Hybrid has now had a bit of a struggle in the background. Down on the exit of Sector 2, heading into Sector 3 now, the Williams. You've got Angry Badger has lost out to Speedy Bullet, but was sticking in with the top 4. Ghost not making a move. You've got Gandalf ahead of Steel Lane as well through the hairpin at turn 14. Gandalf up into the top 5 now. Let's go back. Oh! Oh, Filthy Ghost! Ghost has made a massive error. There was either contact or he slipped off the curb potentially. But Filthy Ghost now, the pole sitter, is down to P4. It's a big error from the Tier 2 runner-up of last season. Filthy Ghost has now got Gandalf for company. So that is massive for Filthy Ghost, and that will give Lee's 3 drivers, Piggy, King of the King and Signsy, a massive chance to run away now. But the only good news I can see with that from those further down is Filthy Ghost is very quick. If Gandalf can get within DRS, Gandalf can try and work with Filthy Ghost, so can Steel Lane, so can George Hutch. Just try and pull themselves a bit closer towards the top 3 potentially. But that's not happening because Gandalf is not within 1 second. Well, let's see then, King of the King direct on board with him at 7/10 of a second behind. But the most likely chance again for the overtakes is down into the hairpin at turn 14. So for King of the King though, he may just be too far behind, 8/10 of a second. In fact, the one who's closest is Signsy. 3/10 of a second behind. He may just go for the overtake here. He is putting out, as is King of the King. Signsy having a look down the inside, but holds off. Has a better judgment there, just to decide not to go for the overtake. As King of the King goes for a little bit of a wider line. The gap is still 7/10 now between the top 2. As off goes a couple of the drivers. Piggy off and Signsy off as well. So they've both gone off track. It's actually probably favoured Piggy there. I'm hoping that Piggy did get a warning for that, just for the fact that he did gain time. Wouldn't be particularly fair if you go wide and gain time and don't get a warning as a result. But the gap back now to 7.5 tenths. So we'll go just quickly momentarily down as Steel Lane and George Hutch putting the pressure on Gandalf. Gandalf not getting himself in DRS range of Filthy Ghost. And Ghost is still losing a bit of time now to the top 3. He's now at 4 seconds adrift. So not looking good there. Doug up to P14, King Kong up to P12. Those were the 2 drivers who served engine penalties leading up to this Grand Prix. But yes, Steel Lane in P6 is in a decent position. The 2 Ferraris though did start up the field. Angry Badger now down to P13. So not ideal from the 2nd Ferrari. But it's okay for this one for Steel Lane, as he did look down the inside on Gandalf, but not making the move. Let's go back up towards the front then, with Piggy, King of the King, and Signsy dominating the early stages of the race after the mistake from Ghost. And King of the King will make the overtake. For the first time, he will be leading this race as well. Piggy has been leading all the way through, but Piggy has got the exit, has he? They are now going alongside, but the Red Bull clears the Visa RB, and King of the King does take the lead. But for how long? Because Mr. Piggy will get DRS, and Piggy now, although King of the King got the fast snap, Piggy does take the lead. He's taken it back 2/10 of a second. Oh, Signsy went for a bit of an audacious move there on the Red Bull. He's made an error. He's not lost too much time, but he is back to P3, 1 second behind. He does not want to be making mistakes like that to lose DRS here on the top 2. Again, King of the King, I don't know what they're doing. Why are they going for audacious moves here? They've just got to work together. They are not working together, and this is an issue because it's going to allow for the likes of Filthy Ghost to close up. Then it would allow for those in the second group to close up as well. Crazy scenes. Piggy leading by a second, but Signsy is back in. Yellow flags in the background. It looks like a Mercedes of DD Friend, potentially I Am Batman as well in the Alpine. Batman has certainly lost places here on the start, so he is dropping down in P14, but Signsy will not have DRS, will he? Let's see if his rear wing will open. He need it to open, because if not, you've got King of the King behind him, who's looked quick down the straights here. And yeah, I do not see it. So Signsy has not got DRS, but he has closed up towards Piggy, which is beneficial for him. He obviously needs to use battery to do that. But Sindy now will get DRS down into turn 1 as George Hutch makes the move on Gandalf. They are running side by side here. A few little battles are going on, the McLaren and the Haas as well. George Hutch ahead of Gandalf. They're all squabbling for positions here. Yeah, certainly wow from Link's piece, I agree. Gandalf then back ahead of George Hutch and up into the top 6. They have lost a lot of ground on Steel Lane. So surprisingly some gaps have been formed. Oh my gosh, in the background now. I'm just going to go a bit further back because Speedy Bullet and King OG going side by side. And look who's behind them. It's a championship leader. King Kong is almost onto the rear of the second place King OG. This is not the best of races for King OG in P9. He's having a struggle out there. Let's go back up to the lead as these three have now caught up to each other. Piggy, Siding, and King of the King. 3 seconds to Filthy Ghost, who has not been able to make inroads on them. Support for Alpine from Jar Jar Bing and Destroyer Jack as well. And also support for George Hutch from Benny. So plenty of support for the Alpine team. Are leading the championship going into round 4. However, after last night's results, they will drop behind Red Bull. But they could go back ahead, depending on what happens tonight. But it is Piggy from Sindy from Kingy the King out in front. Still a lot of battling going on further behind. I will maybe just go quickly towards King Kong. For a moment he was close, but I'm going to go back up. I have to go back up towards these three. And there's no moves being made. No moves being made by any of them, so we're going to drop back down. Let's see, King OG, second in the championship behind Mr. Potwash at the moment on track. And there is a move being made. It's Doug round the outside on King Kong. And the Aston Martin flying up the order into P11 now. So King Kong has dropped a place. The championship leader is behind Doug. Indeed, smash that like button on the TikTok. Absolutely. Yellow flags. I Am Batman has a DNF from the race. That's not good for the Alpine team. That is not good at all, because DNFing from the race means you get no points. Even if you finish P17, you would still get points. There you go. It looks like somebody's going to have a little chat and a conversation with Batman. I could just imagine that conversation, but there you go. So that will be lost points for Alpine as a result. So yes, Doug is again just having a little look, as was Kingy OG. I think the battle here in the lower midfield is the one to really watch. It leads up to P6, so you can't really say it's lower midfield, really. But they are all in different strategies, mediums and hards. Nobody opted for the soft tyres. Batman pedal broke. Ah, I see. So Batman's pedal broke. That is why he DNF'd. Okay, I can't understand the conversations then. Don't worry, Jack. Oh, Gandalf. That was a bit crazy, wasn't it? There's ever a move under braking. No, I think, to be fair, he got quite close to George Hutch and he didn't want to go into him, I do believe. But let's go up towards the front now, because Sindy and Piggy are now going side by side through the effective snail. But Sindy has got the lead. He has got the lead from Piggy. Piggy fighting it back down into turns 5 and 6. Who will get ahead through the left-hander? Piggy, will he send it? A bit of contact, nothing malicious. Sindy retains the lead. If anyone may have got damage from that, it may have been Piggy potentially, but I think he seems okay. Just seen 3 of any damage though. So Sindy now leading the way here on lap 8. He's having an excellent race in the Aston Martin though. George has no FFB and Ghost no brake pedal. Damn. Problems for the Alpine. Not looking good after last night's struggles as well for the Alpines. Not looking good tonight. They need their tier 3 drivers to put in a show for tomorrow. They need a 1-2. Obviously I know they lost a 1-2 last week, but they still got a strong result. Hence why they were leading the way heading into round 4. But they are certainly, they've got a lot of reliance on their tier 3 drivers though. Particularly Batman, but also Jar Jar Bing could put in some strong performances as he did last week, albeit with the penalties as well. But Batman is the one who they're definitely getting into play. Bolt learning, no line, so struggling as well. I see. I did wonder why he was behind me last night. I can't lie. Oh, crikey, shouldn't be saying what happened last night. I don't know. You have to watch. You have to watch what happened last night. But yeah, I did kind of wonder why he didn't have amazing pace. I cannot lie. But anyways, we've still got Signsy, Piggy, and King of the King. A bit of a battle going on in the background there between Potwash and Speedy. But it looks like the Hass has got ahead. Has it? Ooh, Speedy got it. Got incredibly close towards making a move. He did lift off, which means the Hass of Potwash gets himself ahead. The TP bringing championship with no TC spins. Well, yeah, no traction control spins. Definitely. I mean, it's not too difficult in this game, I don't think, but there are times where you can get snaps sort of out of nowhere almost. It sort of feels that way. Over the curbs now is a little bit more tricky as well. As again, Doug now entering into the battle, and Doug roundhouse on Potwash. He's made another move, and Doug now leads this train up to P9. And he's got the overtake. King the OG, don't forget, is in the train ahead with Gandalf. King Kong, your championship leader, is down in P13 and on the back of this train with Doug, Bullet, Badger and Potwash. For the lead though, Piggy is ahead of Signsy. So he's got ahead. The Red Bull of King of the King is still there. If I'm King of the King, honestly, I'm sitting behind these two, letting them squabble it out. If one of them makes a mistake, I'm going for it. But there you go, that's my fielding on the strategy. Oh, mistake. Mistake. Angry Badger is onto the grass at the hairpin, and he's doing donuts. A little bit early for the donuts. I don't think it's time to celebrate yet. But either way, Angry Badger is back onto the track then in the Ferrari. Struggling in the constructors are Ferrari, and they're not doing great here tonight. Although Steelane's still in the top 5 in all fairness to him. Got Speedy Bullet still behind Doug. Doug now is going to have a bit of a job on, because if he wants to keep these guys behind him, then, well, he's going to have a lot of pressure on him, and then he needs to try and work his way up towards 2 ahead. Or, well, the 3 ahead now, because George Hutch has been caught by Gandalf and Kingy OG. King Kong is still on the rear of this battle, however. So, in P11, not exactly making inroads, but he did overtake Mr. Potwash. So, he has now made up another place. Don't forget, he started P17, now up to P11. Doug started P16 up to P9 now. But they're not in any front groups here, are Doug or King Kong. They are struggling a little bit to make their way up the field. Gandalf has lost DRS on George Hutch. Let's quickly go towards Piggy. Can he get the lead back on Signsy? Still got King of the King there. And here comes King of the King as he's going to go down the inside. Not quite. And look who has joined the battle. Entering the fray for the first time since his early slip is Filthy Ghost. The pole sitter is back with a vengeance, and he can attack the top 3. He's on the hard tyres as well, don't forget, so he's on the more durable tyres, and this will give him the greater benefits through this stage of the Grand Prix now. Right, so you can see he's having a look on the inside of the Red Bull already. So will he get... I thought he may have gone for a potential switchback. He's not gone for it. There was a little bit of contact. That doesn't look like there's any front wing damage. But Filthy Ghost is all over the Red Bull of Kingy the King for a place on the podium. So this could be a pivotal battle here. P11 to P6, let's go George. I'm presuming that's on about King OG and King Kong. King Kong, meanwhile, has now overtaken Speedy Bullet. King Kong up into the top 10 for the first time tonight. So you're seeing both championship contenders are starting to make some moves, although King OG is still struggling to close the gap towards George Hutch. Hutch doing well in P6 to keep the gap to King OG and Gandalf. As we go back towards Piggy for the race leaders, this is Shazam into the pits for hard tyres. Iron Batman leaving the session, but he has already retired. And here we go then, Piggy on the straight, down into the hairpin. Will he go for it again on Sindy? 2 tenths, 1 tenth behind. They're going to go side by side. And the Visa RB returns to the lead of the Grand Prix. But Sindy's going to do the switch back, has he? The Aston Martin did get a great view. But it's Sindy who powers on through into turn 16 as Piggy heads into the pits. So it's a big chance now for Piggy to get the undercut. Good evening, F7R Jack. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the follow on that one. Cena and George are catching the top 3. Yes, they are. The hard tyres are starting to work better, but you'd expect that at the stage of the race. Sciency and Kingy the King are not quite working too well right now on their mediums, but they will opt for the hards later on. Maybe this lap could be the play, especially after Piggy decided on the undercut. How big will that undercut play? Let's get the gap to the leader, shall we? To see if Piggy is going to make big gains. 23.8 at the moment. If he can get that gap to 22, 23 seconds, I'm sure he'll be in a good place to get through. Could be a good strategy. It could be. But the issue is those tyres will be pretty dead come the end of the race. Unless there's a safety car. There's a safety car. Lap 24, maybe. Lap 25 is a massive chance for Piggy to hold on. He is gaining a little bit, but not really a lot. Only gaining a few tenths of a second so far. And he's about to catch up to the pairing of Badger and DD Friend. DD Friend may be about to pit, in all fairness to him. Let's get the interval back. Piggy is now starting to gain more. So Piggy could be net P1 right now. I think he will be net P1 because he is beginning to gain better on Sindy, King of the King. And this man, Filthy Ghost, who is looking at the move on King of the King, gets squirmy. Kingy drops in behind. He's going into the pit. That means, as does Sindy, so Filthy Ghost inherits the race lead. So there you go. 2 drivers into the pit. They've seen what happened with sorry, hang on, who took engine pens this race? So that was King Kong, your championship leader on the mediums right now, up to P6, and Doug in P5 in the Aston Martin. So you had 2 drivers serving engine penalties, Doug and King Kong, and they are now both into the top 6 again, albeit they still need to pit. But yes, Mr. Piggy ahead of Sindy and King of the King now. Let's have a little look how they're playing. Piggy, though, the problem for him, he has got traffic. He has got DD Friend and Angry Badger. This is a crucial stage in this Grand Prix. Piggy has to clear the pair of them. But then don't forget, as does Sindy, and then King of the King, for some reason, is 3 seconds behind. The Red Bull having to drop in behind Filthy Ghost, and that may be the reason why he's this far behind. Let's see though, Piggy clearly gaining a lot of time here on DD Friend. He's going to want to apply the pressure. DD Friend at the moment is going to get DRS on Angry Badger as well. This is pivotal for Piggy and for Sindy. But we'll both be able to get moves done on the back straight, because here will go Piggy on DD Friend. I'm certain he'll make this move, but can he make the double? And it will be crucial for him. So onto the back straight they go. Piggy gaining, Sindy is in there as well. Both of them are pushing forward. They're going to make the move here on DD Friend. But what about the Ferrari? I don't think they're going to get the double. Side by side are Piggy and DD Friend. Piggy's got the move though. Piggy has got the move on DD Friend. And here comes a chance for Sindy on the outside line. He's not going to make the move because into the pits goes DD Friend. Sindy makes the move, and also into the pits goes Speedy Bullet and Badger. So these two can pull away now. This ain't great for King of the King, you know. The one who has lost out the most on this battle will be King of the King in P9, 2.5 seconds behind. He was in that front group, don't forget. Now he is behind them both. So it's good news for Piggy, and in particular, with the 1 lap fresher tyres, it's looking great for the Aston Martin of Sindy. P2 at Austria round 1, your Tier 3 reigning champion, is looking strong here in Tier 2. Those are the hard tyres may be looking, I mean old hard tyres that is, they may be wanting a safety car. If they want a safety car, then they'll go mediums to the end. But would a safety car right now be too soon? I think it probably would be too early. Seeing the drop-off earlier on from the mediums, yeah, it's a bit too early right now to go on to fresh mediums. I mean, they will do it if it's a safety car. They will go for mediums. but it will be a little bit too soon for those mediums to work at optimal temperatures, optimal timings, but also you don't want to lose too much later in the stint, later in the race, of course. A few comments seeing on the TikTok. Good evening to everybody who is on the TikTok. Only a second stream on a TikTok, might I add. We had tier 1 last night on a TikTok as well. Feel free to give a like on that one as well. As into the pits goes Filthy Ghost, who was in the race lead, and also Stee Lane. So Ghost tier 2 runner-up last season. Stee Lane was in tier 1 last season. They both entered onto the medium compound of tyre, as you'd expect. But where do they drop on this stage? Let's go back towards Sainsy. He's happy just sticking in behind Piggy, it seems, at the moment. So he is in P6, Piggy P5, but again, they've got much fresher tyres than all of those ahead, because those ahead do not, well, they've not pitted yet. So that includes Kingy OG, who is battling for the championship. P2 at the moment, 5 points the gap between King Kong ahead of Kingy OG. And it's not been a great race this from King Kong, nor has it been for Kingy OG. So I would argue right now that neither of them would be particularly happy with their race. I'm pretty sure on that. But the good news for both of them is that their rival has not had a great race either. Sainsy, is he about to go for a risky move? Not quite. He will just settle in behind Piggy here. And again, we're into Sector 3. He will now get the DRS. So Sainsy may be about to take what would be net P1 away from Mr. Piggy. Let's see if he does on the straight. He's within 3/10. He's got no choice. He's going to go for the overtake. And here on lap 15, Sainsy now does take the lead away from Piggy. Piggy has been leading the majority of this event, actually. I know Filthy Ghost had a good spell earlier in the race until he dropped off. He got back into it. Filthy Ghost, though, is going to be gaining on these two. And in all fairness, Sainsy and Piggy have to work together to try and keep the likes of Ghost and Kingy the King away. Sainsy, fastest lap, 35.2. But it won't be surprising if Filthy Ghost ends up taking that away. Into the pits goes Kingy OG and Doug. Where do they fall compared to King Kong? Let's have a look. King Kong is ahead of Kingy OG. He does have 2 lap older tyres, but Kingy OG is behind his championship rival on track. That's not ideal. Let's go back up towards Piggy. We will keep an eye on those 2 championship contenders. King Kong P9, Kingy OG in P10. Kingy OG is within 1 second as well. So let's see if the McLaren will make a move. Still good comments going through on the TikTok. Looks like you're all actually having a discussion, interestingly enough. But yes, Piggy, half a second to Sainsy. Filthy Ghost is now caught up on his mediums. They will be good, those mediums, but how long will they last before they drop off? Or can Ghost get them to work the entire race? If anybody can, potentially Ghost can. And that's from personal experience, knowing his pace last season. He can be absolutely mighty. The likes of Sainsy and Piggy need to do something to keep Ghost at bay here. They are catching up towards Potwash. And Potwash yet to pit. George Hutch now is into the pit, so he is going to get rid of his hard. And that may mean that Potwash follows them, and Potwash does head into the pit. So now, this net P1 is effectively P1. Sainsy, Piggy, and Filthy Ghost, 3 in a row for the victory. But we've got plenty of time remaining. 12 laps still here at China. And don't quite rule out the likes of Kingy the King. He is 3 seconds behind. But this trio battle could give Kingy the King a chance to get back into it. So he's still in the play here for a good position, Kingy the King. Not necessarily for a podium right now, but he needs this trio to battle each other. Oh, a move being made there from the McLaren. Ghost attacking Piggy. Is he going to go for it on the outside line? No, he's just holding off here in Sector 2. Good decision there, smart from the McLaren. But Filthy Ghost now will have another chance potentially before entering Sector 3. These two will both be getting DRS from Sainsy, which again is important. But Filthy Ghost would love to make a move here on Piggy, but it's just too far behind. So the McLaren settles into P3 for now He will be going for the overtake, however. Speaking of going for the overtake, King EOG down the inside on Gandalf. And King EOG, the championship man in second place, is up into 6th place. And look who's having an attack as well. It's King Kong. We're just going to stick with this for the moment. They are going side by side. I know they're going at it for the lead. Ghost does take Piggy. And Ghost is up to P2. And King Kong now has a battle here. Is he going to get ahead? This is for the championship. That's why I'm having a focus on this for now. King Kong, though, is just dropping behind. Oh, off goes the Alpine of Hutch. Hutch has gone deep. That gives King EOG the place. Gandalf the place. And King Kong goes through as well. Kong is into P8. Big ever there from George Hutch on his fresh mediums. So now, King EOG and King Kong only have Gandalf in between them. As we're going to go back up to the lead, Filthy Ghost has taken it away from Piggy, up into P2, with Signsy leading the way. Pick up the pace, Hybrid. Crikey. He did make a mistake earlier in the race. He didn't have a spin. That's why he's down in P15. And he's on 7-lap-old mediums. He may need to pit again, in all truth. I think he most likely will. But yeah, certainly looking that way for Hybrid. But these top 3, it will be a big surprise. Oh, I was gonna say it'll be a big surprise if this doesn't end the top 3. But if Ghost makes mistakes like that one, where he ran incredibly wide, then maybe that gives a chance to those behind. But he doesn't seem to have lost time as a result. And as you can see, he is making inroads now on Signsy to take the lead for the first time since the early stages, and obviously midway through the last stint. But Filthy Ghost does want to take P1 away, or does he? He's sitting in behind. Interesting. Oh! He went in a bit wide there. He goes deep, and that just allows for Piggy to get ahead. Ghost goes off. The Visa goes through, and Piggy now is up to second. It's another error for Filthy Ghost. I mean, crikey. No wonder why he didn't end up winning a Tier 2 title last season. He can't be making mistakes like that, Filthy Ghost. With the pace he's got, can't be affording those errors. But either way, he gets a switch back, does he? On the Visa RB he does. And that's the pace he's got. This is what he should be doing. Filthy Ghost is back into P2. A super battle. And following on from the mistake at the hairpin, he now takes P2 again away from Mr. Piggy. As he's set to purple, sector 1 to boot. Further down, Steel Lane has still got Kingy the King there, so these two trying to work in tandem with each other. But Filthy Ghost all over him. Oh, let's drop for the moment towards Doug. Doug having a look on the outside of Gandalf. Gandalf a little bit of contact, nothing major. And Doug now fighting on the outside. Now having a look on the inside of Gandalf. But drops in behind. Not enough grip there for Doug to complete any move. So the Aston Martin just settles behind. Still in the top 10, having served that engine penalty, of course. So in a decent place. Let's go back upload towards these 3 at the front of the field. Alright, just getting a drink in there, as it is a warm day, I have to say, in the UK. I'm presuming, is it warm everywhere in the UK? Maybe. Either way though, Signsy, Ghost and Piggy separated by about 6/10 at the moment, maybe 7/10, but they're all super close to each other. Again, they're all pushing for what would be a first win this season, if memory serves me right. But it's looking good for Ghost, who of course was the pole sitter as well. Can he convert pole into a race win? And also the fast lap, so he would be effectively getting absolutely everything here. Maximum points on offer for Filthy Ghost, the win, the fastest lap and the pole as well, as again he goes purple through sector 1, so still improving. Further down the field, Gandalf and Doug, well, they're not working together. Doug is trying to make a move here on Gandalf, but they are out of DRS on King Kong. And Doug having a look on the inside. They are side by side. Plenty of space afforded for both drivers. Great respectful racing between the two. And Gandalf stays clear of Doug. Doug cannot overtake the Mercedes. He needs to get through if he really wants to make inroads, shall I say, on those ahead. King Kong has lost DRS on George Hutch. So that's again another pivotal moment. But Doug is going to fight it back. Is it smart going around the outside? He's made a move on Gandalf, but the issue is, who's got DRS? Gandalf has DRS. It's a bit illogical for me to go for the move there. Surely, if you're got to think smartly about this, as interesting tactics from Doug there, but Gandalf will just get ahead of him. It's going to be a very simple move. Should be simple. Doug will try and fight it a little bit. Oh, a little bit late there from Doug. Potentially. I'm not seeing the exit, but yeah, he's clear. Oh, no. Doug's there. He's still there, but he's dropped him behind now. The break a little bit late there for Doug. Oh, he's gone late. He's gone in deep. Doug's in trouble. Doug's lost a place. A speedy bullet. Not what Doug needed. He would have been happy, I think, to settle into the top 10 or have a battle with Gandalf over 9th, but now he may even have front wing damage. And this is not good for Doug. Down to P11. It was his own fault in all fairness. Nothing really that Gandalf could have done there. Doug just broke too late into the hairpin and then just went in too deep. Down at turn 16. So an issue there for Doug. Skill issue, some would argue. It's a little bit harsh, isn't it? No, it's alright. It's Doug. It could be harsh. So Filthy Ghost, Signsy and Piggy still leading the way. A little bit of an increased gap, however. Ghost almost pulled a second on Signsy there. Matthias saying go on to Potwash, of course. A team principal at Haas there. Hopefully his teammate can try and push towards the top 10. But at the moment, down in P12. Behind the likes of Doug, Speedy Buddha and Gandalf. Maybe a battle for P9 could be on for Potwash with the fresher medium tyres, but at the moment it seems unlikely. But a battle does seem to be on for the win here. Any of these three drivers, but it does look like Ghost is the favourite. As off track goes Piggy. Do notice that whenever they go off track, I'm not certain if they're getting warnings. The reason why, it just doesn't seem likely, does it? But yeah, let's see then what happened again. Don't forget, click that like button on the TikTok stream. It's working well at the moment. And we are watching what's going on in a TikTok and on the Twitch as well. We are live across both platforms here in Tier 2 tonight. For the second time, we did it last night in Tier 1 as well. In UFRL, of course. So, Filthy Ghost, Signsy, Piggy. The battle for the win is on. A late safety car would make things a bit dramatic, though. It would bring the likes of Steel Lane and King of the King into play as well. And that might be what King OG and King Kong would love. Those two, of course, fighting for the championship. But who will come out away with the win? Oh, as I say that, there are yellow flags for Angry Badger. But there is not going to be a safety car. So that would have been interesting, wouldn't it? But still, lead 3. They're not working together. But I think they've realised if they can stay with just these 3 drivers at the front, then they know you've got a 33.3% chance of a win. So that's effectively what they need to do. And now, Signsy is probably going to go for the overtake here on Ghost. The only issue is, for that driver in P3, they need to push towards P2. And obviously, right now, that is Piggy. Piggy right now is probably happy to be in P3. But for how long would he be happy to be P3? Because he does need to get moves done in this race. Medium's dropping off, I think. Yeah, to be fair, I mean, the hards won't be feeling amazing, especially for Piggy. He done a 1-lap undercut on Signsy. I don't think any of their tyres will feel great come the end of this, if I'm completely honest. And in terms of who I think will have the better tyres, I think it will be quite even. It will be quite equal for all these 3 drivers come the end of it, I reckon. Just for the fact that they've been on the tyres a couple of laps longer, but they are on a bit more durable tyres as well. No penalties. Yeah, no penalties at all for anyone. That is probably a surprise. But I did say track limits around here won't be too significant. The most likely place for track limits would have been on the exit of turn 16, which is the final corner. So, apart from that, there are not many places where track limits becomes a bit of a problem for the drivers here, if we're being completely honest. But they're doing well for nobody to have a penalty so far. But no doubt I'll talk about that and then somebody will get a penalty. So the less I talk of it, the more likely every driver can get no penalties. There you go. Signsy, Ghost and Piggy then as we enter the back straight again for the 23rd time tonight. Filthy Ghost in that McLaren should be able to streak through. Is he closing in? Half-heartedly closing in. Half-heartedly. but he doesn't go for the overtake there. Filthy Ghost just settles in behind Signsy. But these three have had a brilliant race. Obviously, Ghost earlier on did make a mistake, but since then, he has caught up to the lead group, and these three are flying along well. Signsy and now Ghost going back for the overtake, and Ghost returns to P1. So he is not happy to settle in behind. He wants to be leading this race. Again, where would you like to be if you're on the final lap of the race? If you're entering lap 28, would you want to be P1 or P2? Probably want to be P2. But then if you're leading and you've got, say, half a second to the car behind on the final lap, entering the back straight, and you've got a full load of ERS, I reckon you'd want to be P1, you know, maybe. Half a second may be enough. If both... Oh! Filthy Ghost has spun it! Oh my gosh, what a recovery! Oh no! Oh no, Filthy Ghost. That's a massive mistake. Piggy is off, and it's given Signsy the lead. Steel Lane is up to P2. Massive mistake from Filthy Ghost. Never mind, you won't want to be P2. You want to be in Signsy's position. What a position he's in. Signsy leads, and surely, unless he's got any damage from that incident, which I don't think he does, Signsy is all but set for the win. Filthy Ghost, he's made another error. He loves a mistake, and he's done it again. Got to work with him on those mistakes at a McLaren. They have to work with him because he's got pace. We all know that. We've seen him in Tier 2 for season upon season upon season. He was there for the title last season. The title was going to be his. He made mistakes. He lost the title. He done it before in Season 3, might I add. And now we're here in Season 7. He's probably just cost himself a massive chance at a win. I say that. I do say that, but the gap between Steel Lane and Signsy is 2 seconds. If Steel Lane can cut that gap, do not forget now, factor in Signsy does not have DRS. I know Steel Lane won't as well, but Signsy just has nobody to work with. This could be a chance, you know, for Steel Lane to pick up the pieces effectively and get himself into DRS range of Signsy. That will be interesting to watch. Filthy Ghost won't have front wing damage. And as things stand, it looks like Piggy... I mean, I'll be shocked if Piggy has no front wing damage. He absolutely smashed into the McLaren. Unintentional, of course. It was a spin by Filthy Ghost, and somehow he saved it. I was going to say it was a fantastic save. But sadly, there was contact between them as a result of the save. So, not helpful for Piggy's race. This would have been brilliant for him. But Steel Lane is at 1.5 seconds behind. You know what? Steel Lane's in a position here where he can put the pressure on Signsy. He is closing that gap. We will still have 3 laps to go at the end of this one. So with 3 laps to go, Steel Lane, he needs to find half a second to get within DRS range of Signsy. The win could be on, and it could be back-to-back wins, might I add, for Steel Lane. I've run round 3. Signsy yet to take a win this season, but again, he has taken podiums. So it's a massive chance for any of these 2 drivers. Filthy Ghost is still there, 1.3 behind Steel Lane. King of the King is within a second as well. Any of that top 4 right now can win. King OG is up to P5. King Kong is P8. So again, it will be pretty close for the championship. I might try and do the maths in my head. Excluding any penalties, I think King OG will just about take the lead. But again, that's without any penalties. There might be post-race penalties to come. But I do believe King OG would overtake King Kong in a championship based on the current results. But yes, again, feel free to give a like on the TikTok and give a follow for the Twitch if you're watching on whatever platform where we are live streaming across both here in Tier 2 UFRL tonight. Signsy 1.4 to Steel Lane, 1.4 to Ghost, 1 second to King of the King. It's a 4-way battle. They're slowly catching each other. Steel Lane 1.3 behind. Is he gaining enough on Signsy to push for a win? He needs that DRS on the final lap. If he can get DRS entering lap 28, he has got a chance. There were yellow flags for his teammate, however, Angry Badger in Sector 2, but he seems to be okay. Steel Lane still 1.4 behind. He's not gaining enough now. If anything, if he is gaining at all, He may just need Sainzy to make an error, if Sainzy makes an error, that is. Sainzy's looking good. Steelane has gained 2/10 on turn 16. So Steelane has made a little bit of an inroad here on Sainzy. Not enough to get within a second, but he's gained a couple of tenths. How important will that be? Turn 16 on lap 26, leading on to 27. But Steelane 1.2. Filthy Ghost now is being caught by King of the King. So that'll be for the podium, but the battle here is for the win. 1.1 second now, Steelane. Still closing the gap by small margins. But he only needs small margins to get within DRS range. Sainzy, I can guarantee you, will be feeling the pressure. On a direct onboard, because the game's onboard isn't that great. Actually, this onboard is good, and it's with Sainzy. Broadcast view is lovely sometimes, eh? 1.1 second is still the gap to Steelane. So Steelane will not get DRS unless he has a brilliant set of corners here. Does he have a brilliant set of corners? No. So Steelane will not be getting DRS, but he is 1 second behind. He is within 1 second. Almost. Almost. It's fluctuating in between. But Steelane now is closing the gap. Again, he does not have DRS, but he's back to 1 second behind. They're going to have a last lap battle for the win in round 4 at China. Here we go. It turns 15, and for the final effort, it'll be to turn 16. And now, here we go. The final lap of the Chinese Grand Prix starts right here. Sainzy, 1 second to Steelane. Steelane, does he have DRS? It doesn't. Yes, he did. Steelane had DRS. And he's now close to within 0.8 of a second. The battle for the win is on. The battle for the podium is on. What about P5 as well? King OG, Piggy and George Hutch. And further back, Speedy Bullet, Doug and Gandalf as well. Plenty of battles are going on. Piggy is ahead of King OG for P5. But Sainzy has 0.9 of a second over Steelane. King of the King, though, in the background, as you see just there, is right behind Filthy Ghost. This is going to be massive. Who will get the win? Will it be Sainzy or will it be Steelane? Piggy, again, trading places with King OG. Which one of those will get DRS? Don't forget, they've got George Hutch right there as well. That would be brilliant to watch right now, but I can't do that. I've got to stick with the leaders, because for the win, it will either be the Aston Martin or the Ferrari. Steelane, 0.6 of a second behind, 0.7 behind. It's going to be massive. On the final lap, it's out to 0.8 of a second. Now 0.9. It's surely going to be Sainzy's, but Steelane has the battery. He will be using the DRS now. And now Sainzy has got to do all he can to keep the Ferrari at bay, which he is going to do. Into turn 14. Sainzy holds on to the lead. Ghost is ahead of King of the King still. Piggy ahead of King OG and George Hutch. They're still going at it. But for the win here in Tier 2 at China, it's going to be coming away. Sainzy wins the Chinese Grand Prix. He fends off Steelane at the death and he delivers the victory. Ghost takes a podium from King of the King. Piggy holds on to P5. George Hutch, King OG, drops to P7. King Kong P8. King Kong will retain the championship lead ahead of King OG heading into round 5, providing again there's no penalties between these drivers. But King Kong, I think that's a brilliant race for King Kong, even though he's only ended P8. The fact is he's not dropped much to King OG in terms of points. He's only dropped 2 points to King OG. That's a brilliant race for King Kong. I think in the end, factoring in what happened between those two, I think King Kong has to be happy overall. They didn't have great race pace, either of them, so King Kong will have to be satisfied with that. But Sainzy will be happy with the victory, no doubt about it. You've got Gandalf losing out to Doug, so Doug was the best of the rest out of these guys. Gandalf P10, Speedy Bud at P11, then Potwash, Badger, DD Friend Hybrid, and the final driver to come through will be Shazam. So again, just a reminder for everybody, you do get points no matter what position you finish. That is why Shazam is carried on in P16. Batman retiring in the pits was due to a wheel issue. But Shazam will cross the line, but will go to the race winner. And that is Sainzy 93, taking victory at China. So absolutely superbly done there from Sainzy. And the in-game driver of the day is awarded to King Kong. I'll be honest, I won't be giving it to King Kong personally. Nothing against King Kong. Just think that that wasn't his best race, in all truth. I'll have a look at the results screen to make a decision on that. I will try and make it on the stream as well. And there you go, Signsy. It might very well be Signsy, in all fairness. He had a great race. I'm not certain where he started. That's what I do want to double check on. Where did Signsy start? But it may very well be Signsy for driver of the day. He does like a good driver of the day in Tier 2, doesn't he? I've noticed, because I gave him it twice so far this season. He might be about to get his third in 4 races. If we have a chance, we'll give it to somebody else. P5 to P1. Okay. C-Lane P3 to P2, he did pretty well. Ghost in there P3, but obviously can't give it to him. King of the King P4. Piggy P5. Okay. George Hutch P11 to P6, pretty solid job. King OG P8 to P7, it won't be him, it won't be King Kong. P17 to P8, I don't like to factor in their engine penalties as well. I don't like to include that much. Doug P9, Gandalf P10. I think, honestly, the only driver who we can actually give driver of the day to can probably only be Signsy. I mean, George Hutch is up there. P6, great effort. King Kong did actually get P8, but again, you expect him to gain those places. So for me, my driver of the day, I am going to go for the 3rd time in 4 races. I feel like it's, at this point, it's like a bias, but I can promise you it's not. But Signsy 93 for the 3rd time in 4 races will get my driver of the day. In Tier 2, it was a good race though, for sure. Not quite as close as what we've seen like last week. Abu Dhabi was mesmerisingly close. That was the best race I've seen in a long time, honestly. Whatever league, whatever tier, honestly, that one was the closest I've seen in terms of those at the front and the battles in behind as well. There were so many battles throughout that race at Abu Dhabi last week. So in terms of trying to match up to that one, it's going to be a challenge. It's a huge challenge to compete with that. But you know what? The racing tonight was pretty good. Obviously, we saw some mistakes there. Filthy Ghost, in particular, making 2 or 3 quite big mistakes. The last one in particular was massive. And the last mistake sort of makes me think that's probably why he didn't end up winning a Tier 2 championship. Not only in Season 6, but also in Season 3 when he had a chance against me and ARC Mickey. And obviously last season he had a chance against me. He had a massive chance. He was over 50 points clear. And in the end, he dropped him behind. Let's see then. Anybody wanting post-race interviews, which we can do in the Discord, of course, please do let me know. Maybe in the lounge could be a good place. But I will just get into the interview room now. But yeah, obviously, if Signsy wants to speak to me, which he might do, Signsy does tend to have a conversation after he has a good race. So he might be about to listen to the race winner. Hopefully we do. But yeah, if anybody does want a post-race interview, please feel free to join into the interview room in the UFRL Discord channel. And no worries if anybody doesn't want to. We all know, after a race, just sweating out, pushing hard in there. But yeah. Still got these 4 drivers in the lobby, interestingly. But certainly Doug's the one. I will probably ask drivers if they can remind me where they finished as well. Although we do have a driver. Oh, this is an interesting one. We haven't had this driver on for a while. We have not actually heard from this driver at all this season in Tier 2. So, for the very first time in Tier 2 in Season 7, we will have a listen to Doug. Good evening to Doug. Hopefully you were there.
Yo, good evening. You alright?
Yeah, you're right. How was your race, mate?
Yeah, it was I had a good battle with Speedy and Gandalf. It was it was really tight.
Yeah, I think you got P9, was it, in the end? You just finished ahead of them.
Yeah. I know I started at the back with King Kong, so I think he finished just in front.
Is that your case of trying to get a driver of the day, the fact that you started behind him and you finished directly behind him as well? Oh, you started ahead of him. No, you started ahead of him, I remember. Yeah, he started directly last. Interesting how the game picks that, to be honest. But support for you in. Oh wait, I say support for you in the chat until somebody said you suck.
Ah,
Oh, Jar
nice,
Jar
nice.
Bing, crikey.
Yeah, Jar Jar, you suck too, mate.
There you go. Shots fired in the Discord. But yeah. In terms, we did see you a couple of times. I think you broke a bit late, maybe once or twice, and then you had a spin, didn't you? You did have a spin at some point.
I lost it. I lost it. I nearly went into the back of, I think it was Speedy or
It
Gandalf.
was Gandalf. It was Gandalf.
Yeah, I broke really late,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah, I remember that clear as day. Uh, well, I saw turn 16, and I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. But then, obviously, well, I don't know, turn 14, sorry. Turn 14 is the hairpin, but turn 16 is the final corner. It was a bit more tricky on turn 16, though, because when you're the car behind, you have to try and judge what the car ahead's doing. You don't necessarily know what their pace is going to be. Especially sometimes they might even drop it into no battery, for example, and you won't know until you see the flashing lights. But then you might think they're out of battery. You don't know. So it is a little bit more
mm.
tricky to know if they're not using battery, but then especially when they're doing it just through one corner. But yeah, overall I think P9. I think you happy with that overall then?
Yeah, I'll take that. I think I could have got closer to King Kong if I wasn't battling as much with a Speedy, and there's a few close calls with them.
It was Gandalf
Yes,
most of it, wasn't it?
yeah, I nearly lost it into the last corner.
Mm,
Me and Gandalf were proper going for it, and going into the last corner, I made him take a tighter angle.
yeah.
He
Oh, was that the
then
last lap? Yeah.
went deep. I think it was a few laps
Oh,
beforehand.
okay.
He went really deep, and uh, I he probably misjudged it, but obviously when you go deep, you have to brake in it. Otherwise, you're going to get track limits.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
nobody got
so
any
he
track
braked.
limits.
Yeah, he
Interesting.
braked, and then I was there up his arse, and I lost the car. I actually lost the car. I went into the wall. I didn't go into the wall, but I touched the wall, and I didn't get any damage somehow.
Wow, you got lucky then. Very lucky.
Yeah, so
Well,
I got
you,
very lucky.
you
Yeah,
deserve a bit of luck after what we've seen over recent weeks, in all fairness.
yeah, yeah,
Obviously we've seen it in other leagues as well, but here as well, not had the best of luck. Round one, you were right up there, then you got penalties, and obviously we saw what happened. I think, oh, I can't remember which driver it was. It might have been, was it something with like Signsy and somebody else? Maybe I can't remember. Signsy got through, I remember in round one. But yeah, you haven't had the luck recently, but a strong race, not unbelievable. I think it was more difficult because DRS trains trying to catch up to the group ahead as well was always going to be difficult around here.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you've got your engine penalty out the way, and I guess that's another positive.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I've done it at China. I thought, because of the first few corners are quite difficult. So I thought some things might happen. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah,
I guess I
definitely.
got up to P9. I'll take that any day, to be fair.
Yeah, no, you did have a good race overall, mate. So yeah, good stuff, Doug. In the end, taking home a P9, and best of luck for next week, mate. Thank you for the interview.
Right. Thank you, Viva. Cheers. GG's.
You're welcome, mate. So that was Doug then. P9 in the end. He took an engine penalty, started in P16. We do have a second driver entering in though, and for the next interview, it'll be the man entering onto the podium, and it will be UFRL Ghost. Good evening, Ghost. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
A little bit quiet, but we can hear
A little
you.
bit quiet.
Yeah, might be adjusting a sound, I'm presuming.
Is this any better?
Yeah, that's better to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, all good. Right, so in terms of your
How?
race, you got a podium in the end, didn't you?
Yes, I got P3.
Yep. How are you feeling about that? Because obviously you were on pole, you did make mistakes, but then you got yourself back into it. It was a bit chaotic at times, I feel.
Yes, it was. I mean, I'm very known for making mistakes, so there is that, but I could have done a lot better, really.
Yeah, I mean, after what happened, with where you pretty much lost it, but I've got to say, I was gonna say on the stream that it was a great save, and then I saw Piggy clatter into you. I honestly thought at that stage when Piggy clattered into you, you both had no chance of a podium. So the fact that you were able to still get onto the podium, you've obviously got great pace. Um, and in terms of a championship this season, it might be more difficult by the fact obviously you missed the first. Well, we'll say you missed the first 3 races basically. I know you did get 1 point on round one, but yeah, you still got. I think you got fastest lap, did you as well tonight? I'm not quite certain on that, but you definitely had a lot of
I
pace here.
believe I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've got the pace. It's just the consistency needs to get a lot better.
What traction are you on? Are you on no or medium or?
On off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit more. I don't know if it's more difficult on this game, but in terms of unpredictable is what I'd say. It's a bit more unpredictable. You don't necessarily know if you're going to lose at any stage. Um, but yeah, I think you've still done a good job for sure. Um, in the end, yeah, P3. After making mistakes, you can't really complain with P3, can you?
No, not at all, really. I had a great comeback, to be fair, but it still really sucks. It really does.
Yeah, but the early stage as well, you obviously did make a mistake, Len, but then you found yourself back into the DRS train, so amazing to get back in, even then.
Yeah, all the fighting up front really helped.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. But yeah,
I was
in
definitely gaining
terms,
because of that. But
so yeah, you had a strong start of, well, I'd say a strong start. You actually did get overtaken, didn't you, by Piggy? But you were still up there throughout the first few laps, and then made a mistake, got back in DRS I'd say about 6 or 7 laps later. Um, And then you were basically in that DRS train the entirety of that second stint until the error, and then obviously Picky went into you. But yeah, you still had a good race, I'd say. P3, solid job. I think McLaren could be happy with that. So yeah, for me, you done
yeah,
well, mate.
definitely.
Good effort.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that was Filthy Ghost there, and he got P3 in the end. Again, he was runner-up last season in Tier 2, so he's got the pace. We all know that. He did make mistakes tonight, but he still recovered to get onto the podium. So, he honestly, very good driver. And on his day, he will run away with things. Honestly, if you can get him, if you catch Ghost on his day, he will get you wins for sure. But that was Filthy Ghost there, taking home a P3. Just a final check-up then. Does anybody else wish to have an interview? If you do, please head to the Discord interview room in UFRL, and then we will be able to get that interview for you. If not, we'll be about to end the stream, but hopefully it'll be nice to have 1 or 2 more people in for the interviews, especially Signsy, given that he did come away with the win, or even Lane got P2. It'll be nice to have maybe one of those two on. Yeah, if either of those two drivers, Lane or Signsy, wish to have a conversation, feel free. We have spoken to Signsy before, so it would be nice to have Signsy back on for this one. But we've had no response. Well done, Ghost. Good result. Yeah, it was. He did well. McLaren on the charge at the moment. Well, they need a good result, and certainly having Ghost back. Ghost and King OG are a strong partnership in Tier 2. Arguably, you could make a case they are the strongest, maybe, in Tier 2. Because before the end of the season, I think you would have probably had a feeling that they both could fight for the championship. So we'll see what can happen. But Ghost with that podium, if he could pick it up from now, he might have a chance to even get himself back into it, depending on what happens between the likes of King Kong and Kingy OG, of course. Did see for a moment somebody joined the interview room. I'm not certain who it was. I didn't quite pick it up, but no other chats are going in. Nothing else on the TikTok either, so it doesn't look like we're going to have anybody else unless somebody joins about now. But from what I'm seeing, neither Signsy or Lane, unfortunately, want to have a chat. But going on to what's going on for the rest of the week then, which we'll give it a little bit more time to if anybody does want to go in for a late interview, but I don't think we will be. But yeah, for Tier 3 then let's have a look, shall we, at what else is going to be going on. So tomorrow night, I haven't even looked at the race calendar yet, I don't think. But the race calendar showcasing, if I can find it. So, Tier 3, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock p.m., same time. We won't unfortunately be live on a TikTok. It will be Twitch only, so feel free to give us a follow on a Twitch. Then you will get a notification for it. It will be at Austria. So as we did in Tier 2 on Round 1, it will be the Austrian Grand Prix for Tier 3. And then the 100% tier on Friday will be at Belgium, 8 o'clock p.m. And then international tier Saturday will be 9 o'clock p.m. at Azerbaijan. Best of luck to anybody there. Try not to crash into the walls is all I can ask. And then tier 1 next Monday will be a mystery track. The first mystery track of the season will be tier 1 next Monday, 8 o'clock p.m. Next Tuesday, tier 2, 8 o'clock p.m. and we'll be live here with me at Great Britain. So the British Grand Prix, that could be a phenomenal race, you know. Again, a winner match up to Abu Dhabi. Potentially not, just because Abu Dhabi was genuinely that good from what I felt. Doing a commentary, you sort of know what you feel. And honestly, at Abu Dhabi, it was probably the best race that I've done commentary on, ever, I'd argue. So, yeah, Abu Dhabi will be very difficult to beat for any race this season. But yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching then. We have had 2 interviews, so appreciate for that, for Doug and for Filthy Ghost, both of which were pretty happy overall with their race. Obviously, we know both did make some mistakes, but they got themselves back to where they got to. P3 for Ghost, P9 for Doug. The victory for Scienzy and P2 for Steed A. That's the first win, might I add, for Scienzy in Tier 2 this season, but also maybe, I think that might be his first win in Tier 2 ever. I'm pretty sure it is. But anyways, we have been UFRL. I have been Viva. And thank you for watching this Tier 2 race at China. And good night.